Hi guys, and welcome to my review of Neverwinter on the Xbox One. This is a massive game, there's a lot to get through, so I'm going to cover most of the points pretty quickly. First off, it's free, completely free. You can download and play this game completely for free. It is a free to play game, but that does come with its own pitfalls. And number one of those is the fact that if you do try and play it completely free without buying any of the upgrade packs or anything like that, you're going to have a much more difficult time than if you actually put some money into it. So, for instance, there is a type of currency known as Zen, and all of the good stuff, all of the useful stuff like additional inventory space, stuff like that, is all purchased with Zen. You can get it without having to spend money using another currency type called Astral Diamonds, but to begin with, they're pretty hard to get hold of. Once you start doing dungeons, you get a bit, but it's never really enough to buy a good amount of Zen coins. So yeah, they are pushing pretty hard for you to spend money on upgrades and different packs and DLC and bits like that. But that's kind of expected with a free-to-play game. I mean, if you play anything like Dota or anything like that, it's going to be nothing new to you. But it's something that I think console players aren't really going to be used to as much, so it's going to seem like kind of a scam, but let's face it, you can play the game for free. Just means you're going to have to work harder at buying Zen coins off the in-game market. So that's one thing. Another thing is that there is an almost infinite variety of character upgrades and things like that. It's massive. It's huge. The amount of different upgrades and the amount of different ways that you can alter your character and make him play as you want, or her play as you want, is just ridiculous. It's huge. That in itself though could put a lot of people off, just because for me not the case, but for a lot of people it could be almost too much customization, almost too much for you to do. So really, that's going to be more personal taste. For me, personal taste wise, it's fine. For some people though, it's going to be off-putting just how much and how dauntingly huge an amount of stuff you can do there is. There are going back to currency types, there's almost too many to keep track of. There's a huge amount. I mean, there's got to be 10 plus different currency types. But I mean, once you start going into campaign currencies as well, it's only going to go up with expansions and such and new campaigns. It's only ever going to start going up from there. So there's a lot to keep track of. Keeping track of stuff as well, going on to a new thing, there is professions. Professions are basically it's a way for you to make more astral diamonds, and a way for you to get improved gear by having it's like a section of the game where you could basically just select what you want these guys who you've employed to do, and you just basically leave it for a few hours, and then you come back and you collect whatever bonuses there are. It's going to be XP for your character, XP for that particular tree of traits, and in-game items as well, like weapons, armor, things like that, which I personally love. I like that, and I use it a lot. I use it a lot actually to get as many raw astral diamonds as possible. So it works out well for that. There is actually a pretty good plot. There's a lot to do plot-wise, and it actually works pretty well. But it's not so much one massive coherent plot, it's a bunch of different segments of the game, all divided up. There is a very mild overarching plot, but for the most part, in large part, and I'm pretty much a third of the way through the game at this point, you're not going to be affected by that plot much. There is a beginning, a middle and an end game, but you don't see it that often, aside from it fairly vaguely turning up during the very end missions in each of the areas of the game. But that's okay, because there's so much to do in each of these different areas of the game that it's not really gonna be massively problematic for you. It's not really something you're going to notice particularly, so that's not really an issue. There is enough in the way of plot to keep things interesting anyway in each of the different areas. It's basically an actual MMO for the first time, I think, probably ever on a console. It's an actual proper free-to-play MMO, and that's going to be new to a lot of people on consoles who only play console games, as I'm actually till fairly recently one of them. So it's going to come as kind of a culture shock to a lot of console-only gamers, just how this game works. And so a lot of things are going to be almost annoying, like the fact that you are forced into playing with other people. There is no single-player aspect to this game whatsoever. None. You can go around and do most of the smaller missions on your own, but when it comes to the end missions for each area, the dungeons, and when it comes to the large battle missions, then you're going to get forced in with other people. There are also other missions as well which require you to have more people, like fighting dragons. Dragons are big 20 plus minute battles requiring no less than 6 people. You could probably do it if you've got sufficiently high level players with less than that, but you really do want 6. And these are missions that just appear in the world in a specific location. So that's another really good aspect to the game, if you're okay with that. I'm normally one for single player, but in this instance, it actually works really well. So, would I recommend this game? If you like things like Dungeons and Dragons, if you like swords and sorcery, if you like MMOs, then yeah, it's a great one. None of those things are particularly your bag, then probably better to steer clear of it, because this is going to give you the full MMO experience with all the good and the bad points that come with it. So just consider yourself pre-warned. It's going to take you a long time to finish this.